Number 5. Stipe Miocic started 2016 with a bang, defeating top-ranked heavyweight at that time, Andrei Arlovski, by knockout at UFC 195. This victory earned him a title shot against then UFC heavyweight champion Fabricio Werdum. Fabricio Werdum had just defeated Cain Velasquez at UFC 188 to become the UFC heavyweight champion. Both Stipe Miocic and Fabricio Werdum were scheduled to fight at UFC 198, where in the fight, Stipe Miocic knocked out Fabricio Werdum in the first round, shocking the world, becoming the new UFC heavyweight champion of the world. He was next scheduled to face number 1 contender Alistair Overeem at UFC 203. In the fight, Stipe Miocic knocked out Alistair Overeem in the first round, retaining his title. Number 4. Max Holloway has been on the rise ever since he lost to Conor McGregor at UFC Fight Night 26. He re-evaluated his game and has made major changes in every area of his overall skills. With this improvement, he put together a 9-fight winning streak, defeating top UFC featherweights such as Cub Swanson, Charles Oliveira, Jeremy Stevens and Ricardo Lamas. He earned himself a shot for the interim UFC featherweight title against Anthony Pettis at UFC 206. In the fight, he put pressure on Anthony Pettis and eventually finished him by TKO in the 3rd round, becoming the champion. He is now guaranteed an opportunity to face the current UFC featherweight champion Jose Aldo in 2017. Number 3. In early 2016, Michael Bisping faced former UFC middleweight champion Anderson Silva, who was just coming off a 1-year suspension. After a closely contested fight, Michael Bisping was given the unanimous decision win. The UFC middleweight champion at that time, Luke Rockhold, was set to defend his title against Chris Weidman at UFC 199. Just a couple of weeks before the fight, Chris Weidman was forced to pull out the fight due to suffering a neck injury. Michael Bisping stepped in on short notice to face Luke Rockhold for the UFC middleweight title at UFC 199. Both fighters had fought before at UFC Fight Night 55, where Luke Rockhold defeated Michael Bisping by a guillotine choke. Since that loss, Michael Bisping put together 3 wins, defeating CB Dollaway, Talis Laitis and Anderson Silva. Leading up to UFC 199, many believed that Michael Bisping didn't have a chance, as Luke Rockhold had defeated all of his opponents impressively and made it look very easy. At UFC 199, Michael Bisping shocked the world when he knocked out Luke Rockhold in the first round and became the new UFC middleweight champion of the world. He next successfully made his first title defense against Dan Henderson and defeated him by a unanimous decision at UFC 204. Number 2. In early 2016, Dominick Cruz made his long-awaited return after recovering from 2 ACL injuries and faced then UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw at UFC Fight Night 81. Many had thought that ring rust would play a big factor in the fight. In the fight, he showed that he still possessed the same movement and elusiveness that he had before and fought a hard 5-round fight. Dominick Cruz was given the split decision victory, reclaiming back the title he never lost. He next successfully defended his title against Uriah Faber in a rubber match at UFC 199, where he won the fight by a unanimous decision. Number 1. Conor McGregor was set to face then UFC lightweight champion at that time, Rafael dos Anjos, at UFC 196. Just 2 weeks before the fight, Rafael dos Anjos was forced to pull out of the fight due to a foot injury. Nate Diaz stepped in on short notice and faced Conor McGregor in the main event at UFC 196. In the fight, Nate Diaz submitted Conor McGregor in the 2nd round by a rear naked choke, shocking the world. A rematch was set between both fighters at UFC 202, where Conor McGregor won the fight by a unanimous decision. He was then scheduled to face UFC lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez. This was an opportunity for Conor McGregor to hold both the UFC featherweight and lightweight titles simultaneously, which had never been done before. In the fight, Conor McGregor's speed and striking proved too much for Eddie Alvarez and eventually finished him in the 2nd round, becoming the first ever 2-weight world champion.